playing with unknown people, then you can do whatever you want.
He's a rager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I.
So you actually, you can only play with us if we have one random person in the party as well. You can always have one scapegoat.
Well, there was a guy that we played with. Was Fogged, Owen, me, plus some guy that was pretty much AFK all the time, so he was the one taking all the blame.
Was it one of Owen's friends?
He was one of Owen's friends. Pretty low MMR.
Owen's friends.
Man, Owen needs to find new friends.
They have great British accents, though.
That's true. Good accent's worth at least 2,000 MMR in my book.
Couple.
I mean, still being stuck at 3k
we
MMR, even with the accent, is not enough to win a game.
We said earlier in the previous game that against the Void Spirit of the... not Void Spirit, sorry, just the Faceless Void of Ninjas in Pyjamas, we like to see the Vengeful Spirit. We actually do have it now coming out for Viking, so we are 3 picks in. Let's focus a little bit more on the Dota.
Well, it's almost guaranteed a tiny core, I think, once we see the Venge come out, likely for Boom and mid, and I like it. In theory, when you play against Rubik, I always really liked having Tiny, because the spells you would steal, like, they're not bad, but they're not great. But ultimately, you just one-shot them throughout the game. Same with the Ench, and you also threaten the Void, as we saw, I think, the first game of today, but it was the Era Tiny of NiP, where you just have so much damage in a staggered lockdown, you can take out a Void 100-0, which is how you're going to kill him.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I just dig it. I think this is a nice combo. I've liked NiP's drafting layout thus far in both of these games.
And this is the most Viking-looking draft if I ever seen one. Like having Venge against Faceless Void, Tiny, Phoenix, these are all heroes that they really love, and on top of that, here's a Spirit Breaker. They're gonna have issues with like no real burst damage from NiP so far. These 3 heroes very squishy. So Tiny, I'm expecting to see Tiny core. These 3 heroes can be easily burst down, but I want to see some kind of a damage that can be thrown inside of Chrono.
I'd love Necro here, just because you just destroy what Tiny and Spirit Breaker like to do. You just do so much AoE damage, and you've already got like some back. You need something to frontline, is what I'm saying. You have a Rubik and an Ench that want to play in the back. You need something preferably that's a bit beefy as well, because while you might not have much burst on NiP, Viking have a ton of it.
Yep.
So you need something. We always used to, whenever we played against bats, the same kind of concept. Like you want something that like tanks the lasso. You need something that just eats the charge or the Tiny combo and just doesn't care. Keep going. You don't really want something like a DK, because you have a lot of magical damage threat, but DK would be fun. DK, Necro, Viper, Veno, were it not banned, I think all are acceptable.
Yeah, Necro was definitely on the radar of Viking previous game as they banned it out against Ninjas in Pyjamas, so we know it's we know it's out there. They're taking a long time though, thinking about this 4th pick.
I think what else is meta? Beast is gone, Veno gone. I'll say this here a lot. I don't know if many people believe in it, but I think Visage has a lot of potential, especially in a game like this. Whenever you're playing heroes like Venge and Spirit Breaker, even Tiny, even Phoenix, like if you get Grave Chilled, you're just worthless. Phoenix specifically is real annoying to play. If you hit the birds with Fire Spirits, you do limit their damage considerably. But if you just get caught off guard, you can just straight up die to birds plus a stun. And they go for the Void Spirit instead. I think also nice just because you have a method of juking either the Venge stun or the Spirit Breaker charge. And physical damage shield, quite effective as well against Venge.
Faces Void, Void Spirit. Looking forward to hear Jenkins and Cap navigating that one. It'll be fun.
Very good Void Spirit game to start with. Like, he isn't really threatened by any of these heroes, so that means he's going to be creating a lot of chaos. I'd still want to see something that can be thrown inside that Chronosphere. It's still a flexible pick, could be played as an offlane. Not sure I really like it. I'd still prefer him to be played as a mid lane. You have a thought, Kyle?
Underlord.
It's a possibility.
For Viking?
But then...
NiP.
For NiP?
But then you have pretty static heroes, like your offlaners not moving around. Enchantress pretty hard to, you know, start a team fight. I'll prefer something else.
I don't like it.
Okay, how about just Void Spirit off lane? You just go for the Necro or the DK or something like that. You want Void Spirit mid, so you want an offlaner.
I like Void Spirit as a hero, but still, like, this last hero needs to be some kind of damage inside a Chrono.
Could it be Enchantress 3, Void 4?
No.
No.
Just no.
It could be. Well, wait.
It could be if they want to lose in 15 minutes, sure.
Okay, fair. Great. Got that out of the way.
I mean, in Dota, anything's possible. Like, what's the dumbest stuff you saw in your pub?
I played for complex. Oh, sorry. in my pub. Yeah.
You were the captain also.
Jenkins kept picking Pudge like 5 games in a row. He's like, I got you, and the hook would just shoo, over and over.
I was in that game. Can confirm. So.
Oh, you guys seems to play quite a lot, so you've seen some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I am. Oh, there's one guy, Anti-Mage 4. He picked it. He got
name
so
2B
mad.
or B2?
He's something like that, but it was just insane to me because he got so angry. He's like, no, this is good.
This is it. Like, I'm breaking the meta, trust
Yeah.
me.
But that's how it starts, though. Someone has to be the first one.
But I looked at his Dota. He's like, I won last game. I know it can work. I look at his games. He did win the last game. But you know what happened the previous 7? They're all lost. Like, how is this fair?
Well, there's the Sand King as the last pick.
Ooh.
Okay, damn it. You guys like that?
That's
or
some
no?
kind of damage inside a chrono, but this hero relies on his blink dagger type.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
When I first saw
hate Sand King.
Sand King, like his caustic got buffed, I still don't think it's enough.
Oh,
I
this
would
is-
love to see this hero reworked, his ultimate, because it just doesn't feel that great.
Huge favorite Viking here, I think, especially, even the Twitch guys, whoever's betting agrees. Dusa, we said NiP has 100 damage. Now there's a Dusa. Look how tanky this Viking draft is. Consider that they have 2 supports that'll be able to back up this Dusa. Damage amp plus the swap out of Chrono. How do you kill Dusa?
Yeah.
You need to just absolutely dumpster this game if you're NiP, but you don't have the tower pressure, and your heroes all take too much time to come online. I think SK is just a dead hero, but it's one of Saberlight's favorites. He has to not die and just go absolutely off if they're going to take this.
Sand King needs to pop off?
Yes.
How? Like, well, how do you do it with the hero? That's the problem. I feel this is one of the worst position 3s, 4s at the moment, whatever you want to play him at. And similar strat to what the Viking did in game number 2, where they have this super beefy alchemist. It's the same thing with Medusa. Now it's even better with having Vengeful Spirit to swap her out of the chrono. And
Do you
their
think they can
damage is
be
pretty
more
static.
active? Like Medusa doesn't have to join the fights, but with the 4 of them remaining, can they be more active than
You
the
have
previous
Tiny.
game?
He can create space for Medusa, and this lineup will just, park themselves in front of your tower, take it by force, try to force a Roche fight. It just feels very, very strong.
Viking on the upper hand here for both of you guys?
Yes,
Yes.
we agree.
Yeah.
All right, you agree. That's great. Happens once in a blue moon. Something like that. Did I use the saying right, Kyle? Once in a blue moon?
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Do you know why moons can be... No,
Take it away.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you indeed. We'll see if Viking indeed can take the series, or if Ninjas and Pajamas is gonna pop off on their Sand King.
Yeah, that's a lot of shit talking of a Sand King for 2 people within burrow striking distance.
Yeah, come on. He's not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
I don't think so. Do you?
Good enough to win this game.
I think so. I think he can pop
Okay.
off.
All right.
Big epicenters, does a lot of damage. You got that level 10 talent, making it a little bit less shit. That's pretty good.
Epicenter really is his worst ability, right? Somehow
Yeah,
his ultimate is just like...
I kind of feel like the new Caustic is his worst ability.
Really? You really...
They might have made it worse. It depends. I mean, the slow's pretty decent. That's about
okay.
it. The whole like Sand King turning people into bombs thing was not. It doesn't happen.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate.
That I can definitely agree with. I like the fact that there is something that you can rely on in the fact that you do have a slow.
Yeah, that is
Consistent
nice.
slow. That is really nice to have.
I do like, I mean, depending on who you're against, slowing somebody into the sandstorm does a lot of damage, and I think in this game it'll be pretty decent.
The most successful recent Sand King that I saw was probably in NA, and the thing that I think was really good, I think it was for Zoomers actually, they paired it up with Grimstroke. And I think at that point in time, the hero feels a lot better, with something to be able to really enable his initiation to feel that much stronger. Because Blink Burrow Strike by itself is like good, maybe you can get an epicenter off beforehand, but I want some real good follow-up, or it's setting up for something.
Right, it's really nice to have a hero that when you burrow in, they can chain stun, so when you burrow, you can actually epi, and then you can pull damage off.
Yeah.
So that could be, because when you combine the 20% movement slow from a level 2 Caustic with the slow from Epicenter, it's actually a lot. And a ton of damage, too. So Rubik is you know, just a standardly good position 4, but surprisingly good with Sand King. Offers some damage, offers that chain lockdown. It's a nice lane.
Toby does manage to win that bounty rune click off there and gets a fair amount of damage on a Charlie at the same time, so that's going to feel pretty good.
And the TP. Doesn't want to bother
as well. What do you think about this last pick Medusa, though? That was certainly a swerve, because we have not seen a ton of Medusa. At least I haven't seen any Medusa.
Was Alchemist banned? The draft was like a really small. Didn't see it.
Yeah, I couldn't see that.
Okay. Maybe Alchemist was banned. I feel like it fulfills the same niche in the respect that you can just get chronoed and possibly survive.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as good as an Alch. I don't think you're going to farm as fast as an Alchemist does, and I don't know if you're going to have the same effective HP that an Alch does. So
yeah, you're also not going to threaten a Faceless Void solo like an Alchemist does.
Yep.
But when you go for Fire Spirits, you do leave yourself a little bit exposed, and, well, not Team Spirit, but Ninjas the Pajamas, they take advantage of that with Misha getting the first blood.
Just right-click him to death, yeah. Phoenix is one of the weakest heroes at level 1, with those Fire Spirits down especially.
So he's got to be careful here. Went for Magic Missile level 1, which always feels a little bad when it comes to the trade-off war. He probably did it for the bounty runes, but I always found that, like I've been playing Venge lately, and it feels like if I don't have Wave of Terror level 1, I'm not able to trade, and I don't feel good about my lane.
You very quickly become a range creep. No mana. Uh-oh, Misha pulling the wave.
Oh, Boom's off to a good start. Already 10-1. Slowing down Kobe again. He is still not level 2 and having only 2 armor to his name. Aramis is going to use the level 1 charge to try and stun up and slow down Charlie's assault, but it doesn't work. Toby dies.
Look at Charlie. So much emotion on his face. He was stoked with that kill.
He really was. Same with Celery. Saberlight, though, you're going to have to pull out the binoculars to be able to get a good read on his emotions.
Yeah, same with Shad. Don't know what's going on with him. I mean, he's playing Medusa, so he probably doesn't feel anything. I don't see why else you would play this hero.
There was some sort of pun there to work in with, like, Stone Face.
I'm sure there was,
but yeah.
That's very complicated.
I'll leave that for punnier casters like Lacoste.
Yeah. Yeah, he can't do that.
He can make a pun.
Yeah, he's absolutely.
And apparently hates Sand King a lot.
Why? What was that?
What is going on? Poor Toby. He can't get level 2. Every single time. He shows up the lane again and they immediately run at him. How is it that there haven't been enough creeps to die with him in experience range for him to be level 2 by now at 3 minutes in?
You know what? Low-key, Aramis is like totally stoked about this.
Yeah.
He's so happy.
Yeah, babe, level 3.
Yeah, he had a fun game last time, so.
Look at me. He still didn't go. I was like, surely there was like 3 melee creeps that died with him in range. He finally does get it. Now he's level 2. So, Icarus dive, they won't be able to pressure him, or at least get kills as easily. Celery's going to go down here at the bottom. Shad will get a lot of damage, and bouncing Mystic Snake on a Saberlight might just get him the kill. Burrow strike to the other side, but it's not good enough. Shot from Celery's, what do you call it? It's a Vengeful Spirit, that's what it is.
Yeah.
His Vengeful Spirit gets the kill.
You know, nothing against the players in this game.
Yeah.
But let's just say, these Venge players, when they die and they become the illusion, they get off. Like, they live for those moments. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now it's time to play Dota. Like, come on. Like, getting the kill right after he dies there. He's like, yes.
Yeah. Kill me, see what happens.
This is why we picked Venge.
So a few patches ago when the Aghanim Scepter gave him the spirits and you could cast spells.
Yeah.
I was playing a lot of offlane Venge.
I remember that patch.
Yeah, and I was having so much fun. And people are asking me, like, why are you playing this?
Kill me. Like, please kill me.
Exactly. I was like, the argument I made was that, like, you know, playing Dota is fun, right?
Yeah.
And, like, the only downtime of Dota is when you die. Well, Eventual Spirit, there's no downtime.
You know, I gotta say, that's a very off-lane bias that you say the only downtime of Dota is when you die. Because you're just constantly running in and feeding.
Yeah.
So these other roles are like, but there's plenty of downtime. I'm sitting in trees all the time.
Yeah,
I'm, like,
carries are like, all the farming
I'm
time?
hitting creeps. Like, I barely get to play.
Like, nah, dog. Like, if I could just run in and die constantly,
yes,
that would be my dream. Misha, he's going to be in some trouble here. The charge coming out from Aramis should be enough to finish the job here. But if Charlie gets a bash or two, maybe Toby would die in return. But nope, that's not going to be the case here. And Charlie's okay with it. He'll get some solo experience while the support is away.
But the bounty runes did spawn, so I think Viking are pretty happy with that. Tiny picks up his bounty. Fairly even at 5 minutes. Neither team really destroying the laning phase.
Yeah, like mid's going a bit better for Boom, but at the same time, you have this Faceless Void who's getting a little bit more CS and certainly far more kills out of that lane than the Medusa.
I'm not super sold on the Medusa hero.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel like when you do get items and you're versus somebody with like an MKB defusal, maybe even just MKB like other damage items, I don't even think you need the mana reduction items. Like, you can just kill her.
What happened to Misha's webcam? I remember seeing Misha earlier on the webcam. I hope they go back to him. It's like he moved his webcam and now it's just on his shades or something.
He might have like smashed his PC and then it moved and he hasn't put it back.
Just died one too many times last game.
Yeah.
Let it all out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a rage-inducing game, isn't it?
It certainly is, especially for 5 positions.
Yeah, well, talking about running in and dying, that is just about the most Dota you get to play as a 5-role.
Hey, well, for 5s, it's not even running in, you just die.
Oh yeah,
and
that's true.
Dying all the time.
Anything
At least with offlaner, it's a choice.
Yes, exactly. That's what we tell ourselves.
Is Boom ready to run around, start trying to kill some things? It looks like he is.
Yeah.
The Siege Wagon's still up. Toby's saying, if you get here fast, buddy, you get these kills, we might be able to get some serious damage on the tower, but you could see Charlie, he got the heads up. They have a nice ward there in the triangle that spotted the rotation attempt from Boom. So.
And unfortunately, Viking don't have fortification or anything to really protect that wave to keep the siege creep alive, so with the kills looking like they're not going to happen, there's no point in staying up there.
Oof, even with the raindrop, man, so much damage.
This is one selling point of Medusa. If you run her in the safe lane, she is quite good against a lot of these melee strength offlaners. It is very annoying dealing with that Mystic Snake.
Yeah, how do you possibly approach the creep wave? You know it's going to be doing an abnormal amount of damage. Oh, they actually get the kill on Celery here as Supreme popped over to the bottom lane. A lot more vision out from Ninjas in Pajamas seeing these mid-hero rotations. You see, they have 3 different wards. 1 in the mid lane and then 2 rotating wards.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think with current Tiny in the mid lane against you, you know this hero, likes to run around and get active, so they're not wrong. They've been scouting him constantly.
Yeah. Boom may be better suited to just kind of focus on getting his Blink Dagger first.
Yeah, maybe. They've just kind of stood in the trees every time he rotates. Very unfortunate. Okay, they're lane swapping. This is an interesting choice.
It makes sense in a way, though, right? Like, Shad's now going to be closer position to play off of neutral creeps. As long as he isn't actually threatened, he'll be saved here by Aramis. They're going to commit, though. Supreme still really wants this kill. Nice Dissimulate, though. Right as Boom pops out of the trees, he pops the Dissimulate and gets away from that avalanche before it hits him.
Again, NiP with the big rotation to the mid lane at 8 to 9 minutes. Every single time. Usually we see Charlie come to this. And, once again, they've relatively similar heroes just because that's kind of what the meta is for these roles. You have this tempo controller mid laner, you have this stunning team fighting guy off lane, and then they have the Void with Chrono. So they make the same move, but it's hard to rotate into 5 heroes, 4 heroes. Support fight!
It's not going to be a support fight for long. First, Aramis shows up, and then Supreme going to tip the tables a bit and try and finish off this kill on the Vengeful Spirit. Nice dodge of the Dissimulate, and Supreme's quickly going to get out of here because he's actually out of mana. Ruby's going to be tossed up in the air by Boom and finished off. Saberlight managed to get the Burrow Strike on through to Shad, but Supreme still lacking in the mana, couldn't really follow that up, and he may have stuck around a bit too long. Boom was closing that gap, but his phase boots.
Okay, there's
extra
Charlie.
movement speed wore out.
I find it so interesting that they consistently do this.
Yeah.
Like, there is some discussion that they're having where they think that this is just like a broken thing to do right now. Like, at this timing, there's nothing that anybody can do, and you show up with these teamfight ultimates.
And that is very different this game. This is one of the upsides of Medusa, right? She's one of the best heroes to defend against these sort of situations.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Definitely. She just sits back and... Ooh, Saberlight right in the trees.
It's an epicenter, but Aramis does manage to hit the charge before the epicenter completes. If he had done that a second earlier, then it could have been a super sick play. And instead, it's Ninja's Pajamas losing the ground here this mid lane and being chased out by Viking GG.
That should help.
Not as easy as a Pangolier to just run in and get that ultimate off, that big teamfight ultimate. And that's one difference between these two heroes. Like, I see exactly what they're going for. You know, we've talked about it quite a bit now. But Epicenter, channeled ability, unfortunately.
And they also don't have like 2 times they had a ranged mid laner that can pump damage very easily into Chronosphere. They had Quap and then they had Lina, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like everything is just a worse version of what they did in Game 2 and Game 3, or Game 1 and Game 2.
Right, so I think the Chrono's a lot less of a threat, basically, right now, which is why Viking are so easily able to defend that tower.
In which case, it does make me a little bit concerned because I feel like Viking GG, they did make adaptations, right? By picking the Medusa, they countered what Ninja's Pajamas was doing very successfully early on. And Ninja's Pajamas, they have a worse version of it, but they're still trying to go for it anyway.
Right.
And we saw it get stymied, and that's going to have some complications for them, I imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of the fact that this has worked out 2 games in a row. And, of course, they lost the second game, but it still worked out for them. They're used to playing under this circumstance. Oh, Saberlight with the stun.
Yeah, going to be able to get the follow-up there from the Void Spirits. And, oh, he actually does manage to get off a Supernova. I thought he was going to be bursted down there. Supreme still going to be able to get out with his Astral Step. Boom. Slowed down by the enchant, for the charge is still coming in. Burrow Strike's going to stop him before he can lay a hand on Supreme's head. So he's looking for that swap, though. He's trying to position himself. He can get people out of that tower range.
I was going to say, I don't feel like the pushing power from Viking is really there with these heroes too much. So not much of a point in continuing to keep 4 heroes up here. Just back off, farm your side of the map, and you can probably push once you've actually killed somebody and your Medusa's stronger.
Yeah. Medusa, she's just one of those heroes on a cycle, right? Push in the mid lane with the Mystic Snake, rotate into a neutral camp, rotate. If you get strong enough, you're able to do 2 or 3 neutral camps where you have to return back to the mid lane to farm a camp again.
Right, it's like your way of not being totally useless in the game is basically shoving out a lane that's relatively safe, like the mid lane, or some lane protected by your team, and then you jungle. But you be useful first after you, or before you jungle.
And he did go for the Hand of Midas.
Yep, yep. So, nice hero to get the Midas on. The attack speed does help with farming, and obviously so does the farming active. Yeah,
in the later game levels, like the level 20 for Medusa, very impactful.
Yes, 100%.
See if they can still catch Celery here. No.
Thank goodness that Mystic Snake doesn't steal mana anymore. That was always so annoying as some offlane Sand
King. The level 15 talent, too.
Oh,
that was just the worst thing in the world.
Come on.
Just awful. What is, I gotta get it in my head. What's Void Spirit's Q called? I called it so regularly yesterday.
Ether Remnant? Is that it? Ether Remnant?
Yeah, Ether Remnant. Good call.
I played Void Spirit. I couldn't remember that. It's a new hero. Relatively new.
Saberlight almost catching him with the Burrow Strike.
You know, maybe tip to get in his head there, but I get why he misses that. That's a weird one. Like, if somebody's moving out of range of you, it'll still do the Burrow, even though, like, technically with the move time of the Burrow, you actually aren't going to hit them. But it feels weird when basically the game is like, all right, this will work. It's like, well, no, it won't. Aren't you supposed to calculate that game?
Avalanche toss, that'll blow up Era and gives opportunity for Aramis to continue to push forward to the back line of heroes. He tries to go for Misha, but as Boom gets caught in the Chronosphere, Aramis is going to turn around and try and interrupt Charlie, putting the damage out, but it actually just lines him up for the two-man Burrow Strike from Saberlight, and now the supports are both in trouble. They're going to swap away Aramis so he gets a better charge, and Celer will actually TP out successfully. Oh, that
so
damage
close.
barely killed him.
Do you know the Void Spirit E is like it actually moves out like a Poison Nova on Venomancer? So you can Yule somebody into basically instant silence, because as long as they're in it for like this I don't know, 10-frame window or something like that, they're gonna get hit by it.
Oh yeah,
it's like a Nova, like it moves.
Yeah.
It moves out. So that's kind of what happened there. Is he casted it and then jumped in.
Yeah.
It still was going off. Got another Meteor Hammer on this Phoenix. I mean, it looked really good last game.
Saberlight, though, coming in with his fresh Blink Dagger to just one-shot the Phoenix. So, first reveal of that. Toby, an acceptable loss for that information, but this would not be an acceptable loss. Fortunately, Charlie, with the double Wraith Bands, is pretty tanked up, and Strength Treads added on top of that. There's just no way a Tiny could one-shot you. Not yet, anyway.
If you had a team there, that would have been a little rough. I don't think there was any vision. I think he was just walking.
Oh, got off the ultimate just barely. He was like completely depleted of mana after he casted it, so he had almost 200 exactly there, but gets it off, and that will stop Ninja the Pajama's aggression, or maybe they're actually going to go back in here. The Phoenix and everybody's still on this high ground, and Supreme's kind of sitting around. Look at him, he's digging right in the middle of a fight as he chooses to finally go for Aramis and looks to finish him off. A charge attempted, but a bash in place from Charlie will put a stop to that before it can occur.
You know, not to harp on the Medusa too much, but her mana depleted very quickly there. So Viking had to react very fast in order to protect her, and they had to react with everything. So you have this huge counter commitment where everybody's brought there, and they still lose two. That is very rough for their game plan.
At the same time, as long as they keep their mid tower up, it feels like it's still kind of okay, right?
Yeah.
As long as they hold this ground, Medusa will continue to be able to farm and feel strong.
Yeah, protect her triangle, protect her ancients. This hero became, you know, somewhat viable again. Number one. Oh, okay, Saberlight.
And this is exactly why Ninja the Pajamas, they immediately went for the smoke and are looking for another opportunity to claim a life, but Viking GG, they're all centered around this mid lane. They have understood the pattern that Ninja the Pajamas has presented, which is they are all in on trying to get this mid-tier 1 tower as early as possible. A toss forward, but there's still another astral step from Supreme, so he's going to be good. And if you successfully defend that kind of aggression, what ends up happening is taking a mid tower yourself is rather easy. And we're going to see if that glyph can actually stop this. They're going to come back in with Charlie here, who has a Chronosphere. Aramis, though, is able to charge away.
Imagine having 3 time dilations on you, you still charge away at 600 move speed. What a silly hero.
Yeah. See, I hate time dilation, so.
Yeah, I feel you.
Radiant are scanning.
He's going to be going for the Heaven's Halberd build on the Faceless Void. So he's going to get like super tanked up, where the Tiny just will have, like, in fact, their whole team is going to have a hard time kind of bursting him down. Because they do have this sort of limited set of damage they put out, right? Tiny,
Yep.
he's got this combo he does. Same goes with the Spirit Breaker.
Disarming the Medusa is very annoying for her, too. She's not a hero that gets status resistance very early, and she's a ranged hero, so she takes additional time on that. He just digs where... He doesn't care where he's digging. He just wants to dig.
Yeah. We saw Supreme do that earlier, and Aramis just copied him. Get it off cooldown, man. Nice 2-mana Avalanche. He'll hit the Enchantress for a bit, but...
Value Raindrop.
Raindrops are so good versus the Tiny, and seeing all those heroes, they see an opportunity to jump onto the mid lane, but Shad did manage to get off his ultimate, and Saberlight can't turn around to catch up because of the Stone Gaze, so he's just burned out. Oh, inside of the Sentry, Supreme, he actually gets bashed up there right as he was looking to dissimulate to the other side. He waits for the Spirit Breaker to attempt his ultimate, and it dissimulates up to the high ground. They have the vision of it, but they couldn't get the
so
charge fast
close.
enough.
I feel like that was deja vu. We saw the exact same thing with Saberlight.
Yeah, I feel like there was definitely a moment where Toby was giving vision and Spirit Breaker could have ulted.
And maybe. It was tight. It's weird around tree lines and high grounds. You
Yeah.
know, it can get really weird. Man.
Look at the difference, though. What a clear playstyle difference. Granted, you have a Medusa. Of course, you're going to be stacking a lot, but Ninjas of Pajamas have been showing the same playstyle this entire series, right? They don't sit around stacking camps. They run at you.
I think in most of the games, too, the pressure's on them to end the game early. It's Io Gyro, then you have an Alchemist, now you have a Medusa, so it makes sense they're not stacking too much, and they're the ones that are, you know, taking enemy stacks and so forth. Okay, not going to walk into Roche. We don't have the damage for it. Looking for the Medusa in the triangle. She's not there, though.
And if she's not there, they can get this bounty rune.
They're trying to bait it.
They're going to bait it out, waiting for
Dude,
somebody
Aramis.
to come along. Instead, okay, they do actually
That's
get
a good
Boom.
kill.
He walks up to try and get that bounty rune, is indeed baited. Caught, the courier goes down for the Medusa as well, and Supreme still looking for another here. Nice dissimulate dodge of the magic missile, catches Toby enough. The swap back though, gives Toby an opportunity, but they're going to Chronosphere to seal the deal. Make sure there's no Supernova. That Chronosphere caught Supreme as well. Got Supreme a little bit low. Saberlight is quite low as well. The Medusa could almost finish them all off if he just had the vision to be able to do so, but now they're just playing an in-and-out game. Guerrilla Warfare inside of the trees. Saberlight hits him with a Burrow Strike, blinks away before any damage comes his way, and Charlie, with no disables out on the field, is pretty fearless in just tackling Shad where he can. He's got the time walk to be able to undo whatever limited damage the Medusa can put out, and they just wiped Viking GG behind their own tier 2.
Man, another one of those... Oh, all TPing top.
Oh, they all wanted to get away from Boom, and he blinked in just a tad too late.
So much happening all at once there. The bounty rune bait was really nice on Boom, even though I think Boom just basically couldn't get out in time after the courier died. So he's probably the second most important hero to pick off, and then next to the Medusa. But then after watching that fight, it kind of feels like maybe he's the most important hero to pick off because he's kind of controlling everything in the game. It's like, you want the Medusa because she's worth more gold and she's the win condition. But is she the win condition right now? Like, is she the one currently winning the game? I don't think so. I think that's Boom.
Yeah.
So killing him, then they choose to dive even further instead of just getting the mid tower. That's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, Boom seemingly, like, he represents both the damage and the control. Saberlight goes in and almost immediately dies, and they get the Supernova off. So that is game over for Ninjas Pajamas. They're going to get out of this team fight as best as possible. A buyback coming out from Saberlight is actually going to halt this aggression here. Charlie tries to go back in with the time walk and time dilation to be able to slow Viking GG down. Maybe they have caught somebody here. It's going to be Toby. He loses the Phoenix's life. Charlie's trying to get back out of here, though. They don't want to overly commit themselves against this Tiny. They just want to play a back and forth game. Now with the telekinesis onto the Tiny, can they commit to him? Oh no, a Burrow Strike miss, and Boom turns around and gets off the avalanche that gets the kill onto 2. Boom, though, still being wailed on by Charlie. Dissimulate does manage to finish him, and Charlie now with a lot of his damage gone. Well, he's got to get away as Boom actually bobbed back and TP'd in to catch Supreme, a mega kill streak. So that buyback is very value for Boom.
About even. I mean, I think if you're Viking, you're happy. I believe they got the mid tower during that timing, right? So I think they're pretty happy with that. Of course, they got more kills as well, but still about even. Saberlight buying back and dying is definitely rough. But then Boom has to buy back, and that's a mid laner. So if you can get him, I think it probably leads into Roche. I think that's the next play here. Look at that.
Up and down, up and down. It is a roller coaster of a game 3.
I love the Halberd choice. I was concerned that maybe he would lack damage for the Medusa, but they're just killing everybody else other than the Medusa, and then go for the Medusa afterwards. And he just mans up. He's going in and basically playing as a tank, which I think is really cool and a totally different take on Void than what we've been seeing in the last couple of games with him.
Yeah, Ninjas Pajamas as a whole seem to have a different idea on the Voids, where, again, running at this mid lane with Chronosphere pretty much constantly. And have yet to be able to take it, but it looks like maybe this is finally going to be the push that succeeds. I don't know. The Medusa's here. Those fire spirits are making it damn annoying.
So much wave clear. You always have to be careful of the Tiny and the toss back.
He's got an Invis rune. Can he actually get it off, and do they have any detection? He's going to try and get away the Sunray heal, and they throw out the Chronosphere. That's going to be able to get the vision, but the swap back, the Impetus, that's not going to be enough damage. Charlie, he now dove in too deep to try and pursue against, but he's so tanky, man. He survived through all that burst. The magic missile wasn't there. He time walks a bunch of the damage, and Saberlight here where the reprisal comes in with the epicenter. Burrow strike about misses all of that damage, while Aramis charges right through them. Popping his W does allow him to shake off a lot of these disables. Saberlight trying to stun up Toby here, but the rest of his team is focused on Aramis. Now Supreme and Charlie both jump into the back line together to be able to take on Toby, deal with Celery. Shad, he's sitting there putting out damage, and it is enough to kill some of these supports, but the chorus, they're just so tanky. In fact, they still have the Heaven's Halberd as well, which may have actually saved Misha's life, who's looking a bit low. Supreme topped off there. He does manage to hit the Aether Remnant. Boom, he's going to be targeted. Toss over, actually finishes Supreme. Boom, would have died otherwise, but he simultaneously got Charlie away from him while killing that Void Spirit with the Void.
That high ground ward there, such value allowing him to do that. Void Spirit had the Orchid up. So I think if he can survive that, they probably turn that around, and they definitely kill Boom. And with just Medusa being alive, she might die to just getting kited afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it every single time where Charlie is like, he's got 300 HP, and Medusa looks like she's got like maybe effective HP of like 800, 900, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Between Evasion and Heaven's Halberd and Time Walk, Void can just man up on her solo.
She did pick up that MKB during the last fight, though, so that definitely helps. I think that's a big reason that fight went well for them. Charlie couldn't do what he was doing in the previous fights.
Is this chain stun combo going to be enough? It certainly will. They don't even need Aramis's ultimate.
Saberlight is really falling behind after that dieback and a few missed burrow strikes. This is one of those unfortunate games where he can't catch a break. This happens. It's just Dota.
Yeah, it's one of his favorite heroes, man. Back when he was first showing up, his Sand King was something a bit to be feared, but this has been, well, more lackluster performance.
I think the panel's going to be really happy with that. Unless he wins. Unless he wins, then it's like, well, it was tactical.
It's actually even worse, because a bad Sand King performance but wins anyway means it could have been that much more one-sided, right?
Look, it's hard to determine a bad offlane performance, okay?
True.
It's like bad if you lose, good if you win.
I think it's easier when you miss your abilities.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, let's relax here. He's playing on ping. It's been rough. It's been rough.
Yeah, how much ping? 20? 30?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. 16-20, Viking GG with a 4,000 net worth lead, and they do have a Medusa. It was ignored for the first 25 minutes of the game, but now it's actually becoming a real threat, and that has to be concerning for Ninja the Pajamas. The blink to the wrong direction.
Yeah.
The smoke breaks. You just blink forward, hoping you're going to catch somebody. And, this is why... Well, it helps to be able to smoke to some sort of vision you have down, but they just have no wards on the enemy side of the map. Very defensive vision up right now for Ninja's Pajamas, probably because, in part, they've yet to take this damn mid-tower.
This mid-tower. I'm so glad we mentioned the 8 to 9 minute play to the mid-tower.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens if they don't get it? This is what happens. They spend 20 minutes trying to get it, and it doesn't work.
Their game just stalls out. I feel like the Medusa's like the antithesis to what Ninjas in Pajamas want to be doing.
Although, I do feel like NiP could possibly go for some play through the bot lane and then wrapping around on mid or something like that, because they are kind of letting Viking just sit behind the tower and push it out. Like, if you wrap around and force a fight on some Tiny or some, Fire Spirits guy standing there trying to push it out, well, it's not so easy to defend that tower anymore, is it? But they want to just face run at it, because they've been doing it in the past 2 games, and it's worked.
Yeah. Oh, there's that beautiful webcam of Misha right there. See that?
Oh, there it is. He definitely slammed his camera. I mean, those are nice blinds. Very solid.
Are you like a blind aficionado?
I think those are probably like A or B tier.
What about curtains? Are you good with those? Aramis charges through some heroes to try and disrupt to let the Phoenix live, and it looks like he just did it. So disruptive this Spirit Breaker is. Meanwhile, Misha shows up to the party and immediately bounces. He's like, wait a minute. Oh, the mid tower!
Oh no, don't
the
lose
mid
that!
tower!
Don't lose the mid tower! Charlie was like, no! I almost got it!
It's so close.
The
Now,
bane.
this is the true test always of how much value a team puts in their mid tower. When it becomes to a point where it's just like 1 or 2 shots, do you deny it? And the answer is, from Viking GG, no.
When's the fortification coming back up? It is nice to at least have 2 forts. Like, you know, you can just walk up, deny, and it's like, boom,
Yeah.
second fort.
I mean, that's the thing. They just used the glyph
Okay.
to keep it alive.
Yeah.
So you could deny right now, you just get a fresh glyph.
Right?
Radiant's middle tower.
And it's gone.
See, that's what happens if you leave it up like that. Sometimes a hero's just going to come in a back door, or in this case, a creep.
But you know Dota players, they're absolute, they're extreme, never deny the mid tower. This thing is the bane of NiP's existence. It's lived a good life, but we're going to let it live out its elderly years and you know, kind of pass away on its own. Or get brutally murdered by a wildkin.
It's like the retirement package for the tower of a nice service.
Yeah. You know a lot of retirees that get brutally murdered.
I mean, I was thinking more like, you know, how like CSGO players, you know, like once they get a little bit washed up, there's now Valorant for them to turn to.
That's exactly true, and I think League of Legends for Dota is a...
Jump forward to push back, but Charlie is so tanky with that Heaven's Halberd, and they overestimated their damage, it seems, as now they're going to get turned around on Boom, is losing his life perhaps, as impetus shots comes through, and Supreme chases after him with the Astral Step to make sure he goes down. Push back onto Misha there, keeping him in range of this Medusa's, laying out the damage. The MKB does do the trick, but it's Boom for Misha. That is not a good trade-off for Viking GG. Boom is back into it with a buyback, and they're going to try and make the most of it by taking Roshan. Ninjas the Pajamas, though, they still have plenty in the tank. They still have the Chronosphere, and they're only missing their 5 position Enchantress. Saberlight setting up with the Epicenter. Can he actually catch somebody this time? It's just the Medusa. It's not that big of a deal, especially with the swap back coming in. Celery does manage to get off the Magic Missile, won't be able to get away from Supreme so easily. Boom, he pops himself out and kills Saberlight. Just as quickly as they go into the Pajamas, they hop back out again. Saberlight, he could buy back if he wants to, but it looks like Viking GG, they no longer feel comfortable trying for that Roshan.
I gotta say, this game is getting mega carried by supports on Viking. The swaps?
Yeah.
How many crucial swaps have we seen? Like swaps that literally determine whether or not they win the fight. They keep some sort of core alive to live another day, and
Aramis
Turn the
is
fight.
making Spirit Breaker look like just a godly hero.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I want to play Spirit Breaker because of him.
and there it is again.
They're going
Supports.
to take the
Winning the
Vengeful
game.
Spirit. And now it's Ninjas the Pajamas, who knows they've got a big opportunity here because they did not have to expend important buybacks to defend this Roshan, while Viking GG, they bought back and tried to make the most of it by getting an Aegis. Instead, they actually give it up to Ninjas the Pajamas after they kind of walked away from the pit.
I like that you see Misha too hitting with impetus. Like, you know that, because I mean it costs a lot of mana to do that, it really does. So
Yeah.
you know that they're valuing, like, okay, we have about 5 to 10 seconds to kill this before Vikings show up to this.
Yeah.
Like, they understand the small window that they have. And I think they're right. Like, the Viking are literally smoked right now, ready to fight it. But it's like, okay, well, I guess it's dead already.
And how do they make such a confident read with no vision out there on Viking GG's side of the map?
I feel like it's the fact that they smoked first, so they know that, okay, nobody's showing in lanes. We probably got scouted with the smoke, so let's just walk into Roche. They're still going to be afraid that we're somewhere in a side lane waiting for a pickoff. It's an extra, like, 4 to 5 seconds to work with.
Charge on through, but there was that Aether Remnant sitting in place, catching Aramis as he tried to pump through them. Does allow Ninjas the Pajamas to get away without any real contact, and they're going to just back up and farm, it seems like.
Charge comes out.
Yeah, they still have the vision out in the jungle area. Now, Supreme is not the easiest hero for a Spirit Breaker to kill because of Dissimulate.
Just gets out scot-free there. I like the Scotty, or what's it called? Shivas. That's what she's called.
Yeah,
Shiva's
the
gone.
other S tier 5 item.
It's been so long since this item has been relevant.
Yeah.
I forgot that it exists. But very nice pickup against the Medusa. She doesn't build that much attack speed, to be honest. It's a lot of just stat items.
Dude, what is this tank build, man? This is really interesting. Faceless Void now going for a Scotty.
Huh.
Medusa
Okay.
already has hers.
So reducing any potential lifesteal regen with both of these effects. I mean, I think generally these are just good items right now. And that's just because, you know, you take items that were already pretty decent, that already did quite a few things, and you just add some other thing to it, it always becomes broken. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Silver Edge, and that's just a Dota-ism already, you know, at this point. You take a spell, you give it some other spell as a part of it, and it becomes a broken hero because you just have 5 spells instead of 4.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And it definitely feels like Charlie, he looks at this and says the team fights, the clear win condition in these team fights is me just surviving. Which I'm not totally convinced. I feel like at some point in time, the Medusa is going to...
Yeah, they need damage. I think they need damage at some point.
Yeah. At some point in time, you do have to address the Medusa and actually be able to go, like, okay, we can disable her and threaten her, rather than just ignoring her, because eventually you can no longer ignore her. She pumps out too much damage.
Yeah, and it's getting to the point where she is building into an eventual rapier. Okay, actually choosing to go for the Daedalus instead. She had a rapier queued up. But
yeah, I feel like Shad, he doesn't really need to go too all in.
It's true. It's true.
Like, if you get this Daedalus and you also get your level 25 with the Scotty you already have, it's going to be, in my mind, it's going to be real difficult for Ninjas in Pajamas to fight into that with some of their heroes because, well, they've got a Sand King offlane.
Right, and back to the Sand King, as always. At the very least, this Daedalus is going to give Medusa enough damage that you can no longer not have enough damage to deal with her. Like, you need to address her. When she's killing your entire team straight in their face, you have to kill her. You can't just ignore her.
Okay, but what about 5 Heaven's Halberds?
Okay, but then what happens after the Heaven's Halberds wear off? I guess you can chain them maybe.
Yeah,
cooldowns
keep
long
chaining
enough.
them.
That's
That's
true.
what Saberlight is saying right now. He's like, well, Charlie's got one. I can get one.
That's true. He just sees his friend has something. He's like, I want one of those.
So you're saying envy is Saberlight's cardinal sin?
Yeah, I think so.
That's why he took so many people's MMRs. He wanted it for himself.
It is. He brutalized some kids in ranked, for sure.
And Scotty is now complete for the Charlie Faceless Void. And
Straight
my
in?
goodness, just straight up challenges the Medusa with the Heaven's Halberd. The swap back, though, is going to be able to keep the Medusa's distance. Does cost Celery's life. Oh, the Tiny actually raining in some damage, but Charlie, again, just keeps on time walking straight towards Shad. Fight me, he says. Somebody go for me. Somebody jump on me. He wants it. He wants all of the smoke.
If he wasn't such an insanely good Void player,
Yeah.
there's no way that he does this crazy stuff that he's doing. Like, it's insane to just jump into the base like that. But he has an Aegis. He knows that he can survive. Obviously, he has the Aegis. But still, you know, you're jumping into a Medusa at 40 minutes into the game.
Mm-hmm. With no BKB.
With no
right?
BKB.
Right, so it's like, if he didn't completely understand how much damage Viking GG could put out, if V-Time walks in like that, he actually gets chain stunned, dies or
He dies
whatever. He
twice.
comes back, he could just die again underneath tier 4s, and okay, you just threw our game. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, if he dies the first time, he can definitely die the second time. I think the only big teamfight ultimate that they have is the Phoenix ult, and I don't think that's really... That's not going to do too much to Charlie, but no, he knows. I mean, this is such an interesting take on the hero. I love to see this because I have no gut instinct for it. I haven't seen this before with Faceless Voids. It's not the typical build. So, learning from this one, as PSJ would say.
Yeah, always learning. That's what we do here.
Yeah. Well, some of us. Like learning that Sand King's a good hero, for example.
Man, he is pumping through some of that mana shield pretty quickly here. Initiation from Boom was actually immediately stopped by Saberlight thanks to the high ground vision. As soon as he blinked in, he got stunned. Fortunately, there is the Medusa to be able to save the day with Stone Gaze, and he actually did manage to catch the Void on the left-hand side there. They're not going to go for him, though. He's like, they've got the second life. Who cares about him? Let's do to Ninjas in Pajamas what they've been doing enough. Ignore the Faceless Void and go for everybody else. Once the support heroes are gone, then we can focus on killing that Void, especially now that his Aegis is gone.
Very nicely placed egg, and once again, Celery with the swaps out, saving his important core. We saw what happened when Boom died first in a team fight. It looks horrible if he doesn't have buyback. And so saving him is very important. And hitting the egg on the Faceless Void. Good lord, does that help?
Yeah. All right. Time to roll forward as Viking GG approaches the base with 60 seconds on the clock. No buyback from the Faceless Void. This is looking like it could just be a full, clean mid lane of barracks. And maybe more. Well, just depending on how Ninjas Pajamas chooses to defend. If they try and opt into one of those kind of poking fights, if they get caught, it can get a lot worse. Or if Viking GG, if they're ever going to lose their nerf.
Look at that range with the Venge plus the Dragon Lance.
They're going to try and slow down this Medusa here, see if they can poke her enough that she's forced to back away from all these barracks. The swap in! That wasn't on a Medusa. That was a swap back on Supreme, I think, which he immediately Astral stepped back in. I think that was supposed to be a combo there. Shad, who activated his BKB, is very low on mana. Fortunately, Aramis makes the initiation on Saberlight and catches him. They just needed a front line for the Medusa to pump out the damage, especially with the Supernova. That forces Ninjas Pajamas away. They do have the buybacks, though, trying to stop the TPs, but no! They didn't catch him in time. The Medusa gets out. The rest of the heroes, yeah, it'll be nice. Kill Toby, maybe you can catch Aramis here, but if they had caught the Medusa there, that would have been a massive win.
Oh man, and it's a long spawn on Roche, so I think if your NiP and Roche is up there, you get so much from that, because that was Phoenix's, he had died, he had bought back, and then this was his death that has the extended death timer. So he would have to buy back in order to protect that Roche, and that would be a huge cost. So all they can get is possibly some damage on a tier 2, but it's pretty hard against this Medusa. She's level 25 now. Split shot Scotty.
Looking at him, Charlie. Hit the Remnant here to chain stun a little bit. Still with the BKB, it's up. He can pop it if he wants to. He's going to pop the Stone Gaze instead, forcing the time walk backwards here. Saberlight trying to get away. Nether Strike is going to be able to push him into the damage from the Medusa. Now the Medusa's out of mana, but the swap back comes in again. Charlie on pursuit here, but time dilation. He can't really catch up because the BKB slowed him down with the Scotty. He's being chain stunned too much. He time walks back behind the tier 2, barely living for now. Supreme sees Celery, looks at that and says, that's an easy cleanup, but we got to get out of here. I can kill that support, but the rest of us need to try and back away until Charlie is ready to go back in again, and that's his moment. He sees Aramis is out of position. Now they're going to be able to blink forward with the catch of the telekinesis on the Boom as well. Charlie, he has to deal with that combo damage every single time and time walk backwards just in case. Nice dive into the Yule Scepter that perfectly charges in with Aramis. And that'll chain stun nicely onto Era. He'll die just like that. Now, Viking GG, they're in a good position to control the Roche pit.
That was one of the sickest things I've seen in a long time, actually. the Yule's immediate Meteor Hammer during a dive. What the hell?
Yeah. Toby making this core Phoenix look pretty good. It's been looking good in Europe
great.
In general. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technically, if you're diving in like that, you can't interrupt the Meteor Hammer with lift because he's not there.
Yeah.
He's way back. That was cool. I'm going to go ruin some pubs with that.
Spots Misha. This should be a very dead Enchantress unless the Force Staff's Nether Strike is going to keep in range of the Medusa once again. But the Heaven's Halberd is actually maybe the saving grace. Boom! In some trouble. Has the Orchid on him, but because of the Stone Gaze, they have to back away. They could not commit any further, even though Boom looks so low. Still, though, they've blown everything. They've used Stone Gaze. They've used Supernova. This is go time for Ninjas the Pajamas if they can just fight through this damn Medusa, but she's pumping out so much damage. And a second Supernova coming out with the refresher from the Phoenix, and that spoils the fight for Ninjas the Pajamas. They lose 2. And Viking GG, have they finally broken things up a little bit? They still have plenty of damage to worry about from Charlie and Supreme, but without the control of Saberlight, things become a lot harder. Will manage to get this mid lane of barracks before they back away. Roshan. It's up, right? Yeah.
Yep, it's up.
So they
Pretty
can
late
go
spawn.
do that now.
Still a couple 37-minute items, too, that they need to pick up. Shouldn't call them that. Tier 4 items.
Yeah, tier 4 is up.
You know that timer's going to change at some point. Oh, get the courier, too.
They know it's here. They have Chronosphere. Heroes are almost up, and Aramis has vision of him. He's going to try and make sure nobody can get close to this pit. Supreme, he can kind of run in there. He doesn't actually opt for it. The Chronosphere goes out. Did he time it? No, the Aegis actually picked up by Shad. Charlie, he goes in, tries to grab what he can, but he finds there's nothing there to grab. Charge through, time walk. Okay, Charlie, looks like he should be able to get back to his base safely.
Strategy pause right there.
But that was so close.
It was close.
Holy crap.
I think Medusa picked it up at like a couple of frames early, and
Boom was very fast.
yes. That was there was a cheese on the ground too, actually. So maybe you could have taken that, but I don't know if you want to risk your life for a cheese like that.
I just can't believe Supreme didn't go into the pit. When he astral stepped over the Vengeful Spirit and not inside the pit, and I was just like, oh,
Sure.
I thought he was going to be the one to go for it there for a second.
It's always nice to have a couple of hands trying to grab that Aegis.
Yeah.
Courier works too for the other items. It's actually really easy to pick it up with the courier because there's always slot issues on heroes at this point.
Yeah.
God, the Phoenix play has been phenomenal. As soon as I heard that refresher orb in the fight, it's like, oh no, this is going to be bad.
They got fooled. They thought to themselves, no Stone Gaze. I mean, I called it. No Stone Gaze. No Supernova. If you're going to win any fight, it's that one right there. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute. That's another Supernova.
Right. NiP has been doing a great job at going to the fights and baiting out the Stone Gaze and the Phoenix ult. But when there's a refresher, baiting it out doesn't do as much. It's they can just turn it around on you when you actually do want to go in and engage.
So where do we put Ninjas the Pajamas' chances of being able to hold this game now? Because now we have an Aegis Medusa that's just going to march up to your high ground. Hell, it doesn't even need to go into the high ground thanks to the Vengeful Spirit.
So I think it goes back to this. Charlie looks like he's able to survive all of these fights, unless, they go horribly wrong and he's the last person to die. But they don't have damage to kill Medusa. I think the game plan was working up until the last, 5 to 10 minutes or whatever, where you can actually frontline and just go on the Medusa, bait out the spells, just slowly whittle them down. But it's becoming less and less viable. I think, honestly, a Rapier is the next play for Charlie.
You just kind of have to go all in.
I think you just all in it at this point for damage. And I don't mind that build. Like I think the build on any carry to go for just raw effective HP and, it's like going Satanic Aghanims on Gyro, and then you pick up a Rapier, and it's like, okay, well, all that damage issues that you had for the entire game, it's immediately solved no matter what. Literally whatever items and other heroes you have no damage issues if you have a carry that has a Rapier. So I think that's what they're probably going to play for because he's, clearly survivable.
They can get one on Supreme as well. We've seen some pretty crazy Divine Rapier games in the past. I think it was Thompson. Is that the Thompson game that he picked up the Divine Rapier and was going ham and then he threw the game? I think it was.
I think so. That sounds
like a month
right.
or two ago, I think, in ESL perhaps.
Very unfortunate with the Void Spirit, though, that the 80% nerf to all talents, that was doubly as effective on his talent because it just says 200% crit, even though technically it's adding 100% damage. Very, very uncool. So that talent is basically like hobo garbage at this point. It's it's total trash. It's like comparing Coke Zero to Pepsi Max. Obviously Pepsi Max is vastly superior.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a panelist on with the kind of analogies that I can keep up with.
Right.
It used to be Kyle with his sports. Now I've got you with diet sodas.
There's a whole world.
Really relating to the common man.
I think so. I've said this before, but I do think diet sodas are the new frontier of beverages. And
you really do harp on about this. He doesn't just say it on broadcast.
I wouldn't say
said it backstage as well.
Harping isn't really the word. It's more like I'm bringing it's like a gospel that I'm kind of like preaching to people.
You're proselytizing.
Exactly. I totally know what that word means, and that's exactly what I do.
Speaking truth to the people, bringing the golden word.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, diet sodas are not good.
I mean, you do look like you should be doing that, given your current getup.
Why would you say that?
Well, because you look like a very special man in history.
Oh. I can appreciate that. Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope Slacks isn't around.
Don't
That's
do,
where we do the callback.
don't do it to him. I'm doing the callback. You just need a, there's a dramatic pause. Come on, man.
Don't you do it to that boy.
It feels bad pausing like this whenever you're losing horribly with a 14k gold deficit.
Yeah, you get to contemplate your fate, which is like...
How are we going to lose this game?
Yeah.
How's it going to end?
Are we going to lose it trying to defend top lane, or are we going to wait for them to take top and then go through bottom and last-ditch effort against me?
Whoa, 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 guys. I'd like to just lose in a potential throne race. Like, I would just like to horribly lose by, their thrones and we don't get through the tier 4 towers.
Yeah.
And they just, like, wipe out our throne, or...
What about losing slowly through the game of attrition, where you give them megas, but you try and hold out against megas till you have that divine rapier you were talking about?
Yeah, that sounds like that would be very fun for them.
Yeah.
I do think so. And then you have like the excitement of like, oh, we can get the 60-minute items, maybe turn the game around.
Yeah, I always feel like that's one of the most exciting ways is to lose, just because even though it feels like in a way, even though you're giving the enemy team a higher and higher percentage to be able to win, simultaneously it's like some sort of EE effect. Like the chances of the crazy comeback become more and more alive.
You know what? I do gotta say though, I was watching a game.
Yeah.
And it was competitive. We don't want to talk about pubs here.
Wait, competitive or professional? What's the difference here?
Professional.
Okay.
I think it was EE. It's always an EE game.
Wait, I thought you said it was professional.
Excuse me, sir. How dare you besmirch the god himself? Anyway, very professional game, extremely high skill, and they were holding megas, and they were actually, the gold lead was going down because there were no creeps to kill for the enemy team. Like, you actually get more gold holding megas than you do from controlling the entire map. Obviously, totally ignoring bounty runes.
I was about to say, like,
for a second
this
here,
doesn't sound right.
For a second here,
I feel like if you're efficient enough with the entirety of the map, double ancient camps, bounty runes,
right,
outposts.
Well, outposts. I mean, your mega.
I mean, it's
you don't
more
care
experience.
you don't care about that experience at that point. Everybody's 25. Everybody's
not
close
everybody
to 30. Well, we don't care about supports here. Come on.
All right. All right, back into the game where it is approaching the 45-minute marker. We're going to get the aforementioned bounties, and Viking GG are in a very, very good spot. I'm sure I'd love to see the win probability of this game because they're 18,000 net worth up. They've got a Medusa.
That seems
94%. Yeah, I was gonna say 95. That's just me.
Going for a Lincoln Sphere. Not a common item these days, but when the only two stuns other than Chronosphere are single target, well, then it's pretty good. And then also, you'll set up.
Heaven's Halberd.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's probably the main reason that he's getting it is the Halberd.
I got you. This
is good. This is good for me.
All right. So, Ninjas of Pajamas. Here is how to lose step 1. Defending the top lane.
They chose the top lane.
So they're going to go for the potential immediate loss rather than trying to maybe wait until they push bottom lane, which would give them more time. No, but really, Ninjas of Pajamas is going to be, if they can manage to do this, it's going to be miracle hold from them. They need some perfect initiation from Saberlight, and he has struggled to be able to find that throughout this entire game. We start off with a Heaven's Halberd, just kind of poking. Slowing this down as much as possible. Unfortunately, they use the glyph at the same time, so Medusa simply just backs away. Another Heaven's Halberd. But eventually, those are going to run their course. Saberlight, Burrow striking. He's got to be careful of that Lotus Orb, though. Look at that damage. That is, you got to be aware of that. Not just the Medusa, but the Tiny is now pumping out some serious physical damage thanks to his Aghanim Scepter. I'm checking some trees at Ninjas of Pajamas.
I can't believe Charlie had the wherewithal to deny that creep in like a 21k gold deficit at 50 minutes.
Yeah, you gotta
defending racks.
Man. Maybe it'll piss him off.
It's definitely a psychological thing at this point.
Yeah. Sandstorm is making it a little annoying as they're easily killing the creep wave, and then the Medusa's just kind of left alone. And they are kind of burning through some of Romantic here. The Force Staff isn't going to be able to get him away from the Nether Strike. Saberlight in some trouble here. They do manage to catch him with Boom. That'll finish him off. No buyback. One down. Ninjas the Pajamas. Are they gonna wait for part 2? Oh God.
Dire's top barracks.
Side lane,
We
Dota.
lost some vision, but it's all good. Here in the studio, we're back.
It's always uncool when you're sieging a side lane and then the backdoor kicks in. You're like, what the hell? Nobody's
Yeah.
cutting the wave or anything. Just takes that long for the creeps to walk. Slow pokes. Come on.
All right, so now they have to make their way because the tier 1 and tier 2 is still up in the bottom lane. Ninja the Pajamas may have enough time for Saberlight to come back up to attempt
Radiant
the
structures
second
are
hold.
fortified.
Are we going to get all the way
Dire's
to the
bottom
third
tower has
hold,
fallen.
Jenkins? The third way to lose the game and just hold out against Megas.
I think so. You know, may as well. Don't think they're gonna just throw in the towel.
I mean, what items are coming in from Ninjas? But is there anything close to them picking up? Okay, Desolator. It's not the biggest game changer in the world, but it can add a decent amount.
They need damage.
Yeah.
And if we're talking raw damage, you can amplify a Faceless Void having a Rapier, which I feel like... Oh, he's going for an AC. They really feel like they need armor reduction. And armor. This is not working.
The artillery coming in from Shad, all the way from downtown, just laying into this tier 3 tower, and Ninja's Pajamas are like, I don't even know how to get to him, let alone kill him.
Man, Charlie tried to go for the wraparound play, but they're just blocking him off.
He was denied that.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the, maybe they just don't have any smokes, but, you know, where's that big old wraparound play? Because I feel like that's got to be it, right? Because there's an Aegis on Shad, they kind of have to go for all the supports in the backline first.
It's this weird situation, though, where I feel like with the Aegis, I don't think there's any way that a wraparound play will even work. Like, I think Viking has to completely bollocks up the fight for it to work, and I don't think they're going to. Given how they have Medusa, it's very easy to position around her. You just don't stand near her while she's sieging.
They did manage to stall long enough. The Aegis is gone now.
Now's where you have to make the play.
Yeah.
Your only opportunity is now, really, unless you want to go for that Megas hold. But given that there's an Assault Cuirass that he's building on Faceless Void, I feel like he's not planning on holding Megas.
Smoke as they push forward. They know this is where Ninja the Pajamas is really going to make their last stand. Jump forward from Charlie. Goes at the Chronosphere. Really only catches the Vengeful Spirit. That's all it hits there. Meanwhile, did you see the hell that Boom just rained down on the NiP heroes? He just killed them 2 heroes with his Aghanim Scepter. They're going to buy back on Saberlight, but Misha doesn't have one. They're going to wait for the Supernova. Fortunately, there's going to be still a Glyph. Boom starts laying out that damage once again. Now, this time around, Supreme, he trying to get in there, but immediately he's targeted by Boom as he gets tossed up in the air. A second round of Supernova. Charlie bumped by the Nether Strike, controlled up long enough that even as he buys back, he's lost too many of his allies to be able to hold this. Shad gives Charlie the tip. He said, you played it in an interesting way, my friend, but in the end, you're not going to be walking away with a victory. Another toss back into Shad. Shad is just a mean, lean, arrow-shooting machine who is bringing down each of the members one by one. Now it's just left with Charlie as they call the GG. And Viking GG walk away the victory in this series. It was a little bit of a rough start for them, but managed to pull through. Nice game 2. A little bit